You know, it's remarkable when you meet people of resilience, people who really embody just integrity and goodness. Their character doesn't stop at those type of values and ethics, but it permeates into so many other places. So Cartier, our sister, you coming up here and allowing for us to deepen in an understanding of ourselves through your experiences in and of itself is transformative, I would say, for all of us in this room. But the fact that at the end of it, you say thank you to us just says to me truly like how remarkable of a woman you are. If anything, it is we who should thank you for your willingness to stand here and to trust us that once we have heard your story, that we will do right by it and ensure that we will not let it be something that is just in vain, but will get done what we have full capacity to get done. And it's our honor and our blessing that Allah has allowed for us to call you a sister. And I know I speak on behalf of everyone who is in this room, those who were present on Sunday when you took your shahada, and those who have been blessed to break fast with you in the days prior and the days after, that we look forward to building with you, growing with you, learning from you, and continuing to gain from everything that it is that you have to offer, and ensuring that we are doing our part to be sources of illumination and light in this world that is really in need of it. If you give her another round of applause for sharing her story. So I said we were at $350,000 when we started the night, alhamdulillah, and our goal is 700,000. On your tables, there are donation cards that say smile. There's pens. Everything is tax deductible, zakah eligible. If you work at a corporation, you have full capacity to get the gift match made. Smile for Charity is a recognized charity by numerous corporations already. And it's quite easy to add them to a gift match program. Earlier today, I had an elderly woman who called me. She emailed me first. And we got on the phone, and she said to me, you know, we don't need to build any more masjids. And I said, okay. And she said, what you all are doing there, that's what we need to build. And she said, I'm gonna give you $100,000 to build that shelter. And not only am I gonna give you $100,000, but every year that you are in existence and I exist, I will continue to give you at least $100,000 a year. So when you're thinking about what you can give, I don't do fundraising in a way where I'm gonna ask anybody to raise hands and we're gonna call out. These nights are meant for standing and praying. And the prayer that we engage in right now through lived action that demonstrates to you more than anybody else where your heart is after almost a month of Ramadan should put out of your head any number that you conceptualize once you came into the room, and think about a number that's rooted in real mahabba, man, real love. That understands that your giving tonight will literally help people to live. If you can give $50,000, write down $50,000. You can give $25,000, you can give $20,000, $10,000, $5,000, $1,000, $500, $100. You can give $1, give whatever it is that you can. And our volunteers, they're gonna start walking around now. They'll take the envelopes. I'm gonna count, tally, and then we're gonna continue to go and continue to build. People said to me that when they saw me today, I looked a little bit different than how I usually look when we do dinners like this. And they said, "Are you worried? Are you anxious?" And I said, "I'm not worried or anxious. I'm kind of full of myself as a human being. I think I can do anything." And it's not a burden that sits on my shoulders or anybody's shoulders. But what our tradition is about is the honoring of trust, what we call an amana. It's about the honoring of rights, an individual haqq, haqooq. And so what's there in front of me is just a sense of awe. Because I know some of you have been here as long as I have, and some of you have just been here for days, but I know many of you have heard me say in years past that we're gonna build a shelter. And you gotta understand something right now. We are building a shelter. We are building it. And just like I told you, we're gonna build a shelter, we're gonna build some clinics, we're gonna build some food pantries, we're going to increase and grow our space, and we're going to continue to grow and continue to build, and we're going to continue to do for those who are in need, regardless of what it is that people might think of us, because we're just going to do what's right because it's the right thing to do. And that amana, that trust, is not meant to be burdensome, but there's a certain level of emotion that comes from saying that an opportunity is there to actually honor it. So I could sit here and tell you, man, about people I went to college with who showed up to school with bruises on their face because their fathers hit them when they said that they didn't want to get married to the people they were being forced into marriages with. I can tell you about young women who have come into this center whose families have told them that they're ugly and they have nothing beautiful about them, and they too have attempted to end their lives because they don't know what else to do. I could tell you about the young woman who sat with me in tears because her South Asian boyfriend literally forced himself in physical aggression against her because he was so scared at the fact that she was pregnant that he wanted to do anything he could to keep himself from marrying her, because he didn't know how he could go home and tell his South Asian parents that he got a black woman pregnant. I can tell you about lands that I've traveled to. Places like Sri Lanka, where entire villages of women have sat with me and they're able to ask any question that they want to, and the first thing that they say is, tell us something from the Quran and the Hadith that we can go and tell our husbands so they stop hitting us. Or refugees that are undocumented in places like Europe, who are victims of all kinds of abuses, resulting in unwanted pregnancies. And when they show up to hospitals or go to law enforcement agencies, officials say to them, well, you're undocumented, you don't really exist, we can't do anything for you. Each one is a trust that has to be honored. And their stories are not stories, but they're realities. And tonight, what you and I have the blessing of being a part of is to be a source of light in moments of darkness. And I want to say too, because I love each one of you more than you might realize. I don't know the answer to the question as to why things like that happen. I'm not God. And in our theology, sometimes we just have to say, I don't know. Because when we yield to that I don't know, we then embrace what our role is and what we know, and we don't give a passive answer that says, put your trust in God, have faith in God. This is a test from God. You say, I'm going to let God be God, and I'm going to be me, and I'm going to walk every step with you through the struggle that you have to get you to the place where you can live your life as fully content as anyone else is entitled to. So what else will there be that you have to contribute to? When you leave from this place, don't leave with the sense that it ends here. In the last week that we have been raising money, in a week, because we didn't start our crowdfunding campaign until a week ago. In a week, this community has raised $350,000. MashaAllah. You should recognize your potential and capacity to do good and embrace it. Practically, after you have given, and not any one of us should leave here without giving. If you tell yourself you will do it later, you will not do it later. Give something before you leave. And then when you leave, you take this that you have, and you send to every single person in your phone a message that says, tonight, I'm inviting you to help save some lives. Everybody on our staff in the last week has sent out thousands of WhatsApp messages, personalized emails to people everywhere. This woman who called me this morning, I don't know who she is. She got an email from me that I had sent at like 2 a.m. when I could have gone to bed. And I don't say this to you anything other than objectiveness. That is hard to put on these dinners every single night. And when we get home after everybody else leaves, every part of me wants to put my head down on a pillow. And then I have to decide, is it going to be about that, or is it going to be about the person that I know in that moment, where there's barakah in that late hour of the night, and openness and clarity that I can write something for. And so I pushed myself to just send that email to a list of people who had contributed to something that we did a while ago. And from it, this woman who I've never spoken to in my life said, I got your email, my son got your email, he forwarded me your email, and I told him I already saw the email, and I've already told him I'm giving them $100,000 a year. And you would say, is it that simple? I would say, yeah, man. But the person will not know unless you tell them what it is that they need to know. And if you are not asking each and every single person that you know to contribute to this, then they will not know that it is something that they can contribute to. But when you open up that door, you don't know who it is that's going to walk through it. And it's not for any one of us that we're asking of this, but for every person that we have raised money for. And I kid you not, when I try to think about what the years ahead will look like, where people ask me, why do I do the things that I do? I've visited Muslim communities throughout this world, and I've never seen a community that is as giving and as beautiful as this one. Whenever we have put a call out saying that a mother is here with her 4 children, we need to raise money for her. A young woman is here who has flown across the country. We need to raise money for her. There's a person here with her newborn baby. We need to raise money for her. We'll send out the email, I'll go to bed, 10 hours later, we've raised $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. But for every one person that we're able to help, there's thousands more who need it. And our real understanding of love is going to come when we put in our energy, our time, our efforts to do it strategically, so that when none of us are here, we have left behind something that is still helping that many more. And so I pray that Allah continues to put breath into this body, because I'm not trying to stop, man. And I know so many of you, and you were not made to stop. So give what you can tonight, and let's get this done. And then we continue to build everything else that we have the ability to. Because nobody's going to build for us what we have to build for ourselves. And for our women, for our children, who have the unfortunate reality that they live with men who have no idea what it means to be a man, we will step up to be their sisters and brothers in every single way possible. For those of you who want to be more involved in this endeavor, Naba is here, Kareem is here. They're going to need a lot of volunteers. You saw one aspect of this project. The shelter is the first part. The endeavor is one that envisions an institution that provides an array of services and resources to enable and allow for us to interject at every possible place in the scenario of somebody who is a survivor of abuse. So definitely we need your money, so you can't do anything without funds. And you know as well as I do, New York City, it ain't Kansas, man. It costs a lot of money to build out things here. But even if we just had one room that was the size of this stage, that could afford a night of just silence and rest to a mother who has spent decades of her life living in an anxiety state because she's worried who's going to barge through the door at any hour of the night, not just disrupting her slumber, but disrupting every iota of her being. They'll take what it is that we'll give to them. And so, through a real sense of Islam, we should be giving better than what we even expect for ourselves. Where you can volunteer your time, you can volunteer your skills, you can volunteer your training, your credentials, your networks. We're going to need people to help in every way possible. And I'm going to end with this. How I know our community is going in the right direction is because it is encouraging the growth of leadership. We have people who are in this room who have built out numerous services and institutions. From the Zakah Fund that we saw a presentation of by Nazar and Samir the other day at Iftar, the Sunday school that Georgia is running, again with the assistance of Nazar and so many other families, parents, Nadia. This shelter is not a shelter that we said, hey, who wants to build it? But Naba and Kareem came and said, we want to build it. And I said, then we're going to do what we can to make it happen. So if you have a sense of passion, you have the right niyyah, the right intention, you know that there's something that you can help us make happen out there in this world that needs it, let us know. We'll get it done. But it's got to come from here, within you. And you got to root it in real love, real mahabbah. Because if it's guilt, if it's sorrow, if it's remorse, then your giving is just going to be in response to your own emotional anxiety. And it doesn't take a lot for us to settle our own selves. But when you're giving for somebody else, man, with real love, it doesn't matter how much it hurts or what you have to let go of. You've learned to not eat so much in the last month. Just stop eating so much after Ramadan and use the extra money to help one of our sisters have a safe space to sleep. You've learned that you have the ability to choose how you think about things. And none of the people that we will help are helpless. They've just found themselves in a different life circumstance. And what we do for them is not going to show us who it is that they are, but it's going to tell us a lot about ourselves. So what are you learning about yourself tonight? And is that the you that you want to be? Are you going to dig deep and feel a little bit of struggle, but ensure that you're getting done whatever it is that you can? And so, if you have given, keep giving. You can take donation cards with you and give it to others. We're going to continue to raise funds through the end of Ramadan, and we're going to continue to raise it till we hit the goal to acquire and renovate that space, inshallah. And if any of you want to be a bigger part of it, let us know. If you didn't give your cards to a volunteer, please don't leave it on the table. You can leave it at the table that's outside on your way out if you haven't given it to somebody who's walking around already. The swag, the bake sale stuff, everything that's at the table, if you want to buy some of that, the proceeds of that are also going to this cause. And if you know people who have deep pockets or even not so deep pockets, please invite them and ask them to be a part of this endeavor so that we can do every part that we have capacity to make it happen, inshallah. So with that, I wanted to thank you all again for coming here tonight and being a part of this endeavor. For those who want to join us for the Isha prayers and Salat al-Tarawih, it's taking place in our building next door on the 5th floor. You can join. They probably just finished praying Isha, but they'll be there and the building will be open till midnight. You can also stay in this space for a little bit, speak to some of the volunteers and people who are on the team. But I'm so grateful to be a part of this community, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who has come out here again and again to help us do the things that we are able to do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you immensely, accept your efforts of this evening, and grant us success in this effort to build this shelter and make it a means of benefit for all of His creation. Wallahu ta'ala alam wa billahi tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah khair. Thank you again for coming out.